Boys, I'm about to be blowing up your YouTube feed for the next few days, man. There is just lots of stuff happening in Destiny, man, and so much has dropped with this WARMIND DLC, and I'm really excited. That burp confirmed it. First exotic, we're going to be reviewing Graviton Lance, guys. This sucker has changed a lot. It's essentially been completely rebooted. It used to be a 3-round burst pulse rifle, like all of our pulse rifles, and then Bungie went all quirky with it and made it now a 2-round burst. So let's talk about time to kill, catalysts, as well as stats and perks and everything about this gun, the pros and cons. And I will say this, as great as this gun is going to sound right now, there were some immediate cons that were still jumping out to me in Crucible. So first up, guys, let's get a refresher on the perks. You know that the intrinsic perk on it is Black Hole. Second shot of a burst rips a hole through space-time, doing high damage and recoil with no fall off. That shit sounds nasty, man. This gun also has a perk called Cosmology, guys, which essentially is kills with this weapon cause enemy targets to detonate and spawn void projectiles that track targets. Now, these perks have been heightened, obviously. They have more AoE range. They seem to linger longer. You know, if I get a kill with Graviton Lance, it seems like the weapon, the Cosmology perk, the void projectiles, seem to just sit there for a little bit longer, and when somebody walks by, it actually will tag them up. As far as the Black Hole perk, yes, you're going to notice it. You'll see people just pretty much get blown the fuck across the map, and that's because of that perk right there. Now, time to kill, because that's one that everyone gets hung up on, and I'm pulling this from Mercury's his Excel spreadsheet. It's at 1.07 seconds. I don't know if that's necessarily correct. Now, I'm not saying he's messed up on it, but I think he's still equating it, or at least in his spreadsheet, is still equating it as a 3-round burst pulse rifle. I actually think it's lower than that. I think that the time to kill is faster than that, and so I think that's going to need to be reworked. I actually think it's 1 second or less than 1 second. And the reason why I say that is because I had a lot of situations today where I went up against Vigilance Wings, and Vigilance sits around 0.83 seconds, and I was outdueling. Now, of course, Vigilance, that time to kill is purely based on if you hit all crits, you know, that's that optimal 2 burst, 0.83 second time to kill. There was times that I was still outdueling them with the Graviton Lance. Now let's talk real quick about the pros of this weapon. Obviously, the biggest pros of the gun, it's more manageable than what it was before. I think with it now being a 2-round burst instead of a 3-round burst, it feels more like a scout rifle. There was one time I actually had to go up to a wall to shoot just to see the 2 bullet holes to convince myself that it is still a pulse rifle. It feels like a scout rifle, almost like a Jade Rabbit of some sort. It's just the way it hops. The perks themselves also do really well. They got that AoE effect that will tag up enemies that are clumped up together, and you can continuously keep pounding on them. And probably the biggest pro out of all of this is that Graviton Lance has a unique flinch factor that I have not really seen in other weapons. Graviton Lance can really fuck up your reticle, your point of view whenever you're dueling with them. It's something about the way the weapon, the way it hits, and I think the Black Hole perk that's also in it, it almost seems like it hits harder. But with all those good things being said, you know, it hits at a 11 to 12 on its first initial shot and that whopping 59. With all those things said, the weapon to me has a high skill gap, because if you do not land those crits, specifically the second crit, because that's the most important out of all of this. If you do not land that crit, you are not going to win out in that gunfight. And that is the biggest thing that is working against this weapon. Despite its time to kill being much better than what it was, we got to understand, guys, that is its optimal time to kill. Body shot wise, you're looking at almost 2 seconds. So the skill gap for this weapon is definitely there, guys. It will definitely reward you, and you will beat out just about every pulse rifle, even Vigilance Wings with Graviton Lance. But you mess up, you don't land your crits, and you're not accurate, Vigilance Wing and other weapons will eat your lunch. Overall, guys, I like it. I like that the weapon is as good as it is now, but it's got such an obvious skill gap to it, and that's okay with me. That's what you want. And all of these weapons that are very powerful in Crucible, they have got to have a skill gap involved with them, because then you'll just be looking at another Uriel's meta. Guys, I'm going to be churning out these reviews for the rest of this week. Thank you so much for coming and watching, guys, and as always, slap that like button like your mama told you right. So let's get closer.